Good afternoon, people. Happy Sunday. I hope that we're all doing well. I hope we're doing fine. Um, I want to make this video because I've been talking about I want to make it, but I know it's a sensitive time right now out there in the US and Nigeria. Everybody's under tension. We don't know what's going to happen, but let's keep praying and hoping and living our daily life like all is well and God is with us. We'll pray that there shall be peace all over the world. So today I want to talk about real estate, construction generally in Nigeria. Real estate is different from construction. So let me talk about construction in Nigeria and then real estate investment in Nigeria. First, I want to talk about people. This video is going to center around people who just dabble into construction, believing that because they've been doing the work for a long time, they are now engineers. I understand that people who do not know the difference between the building team, let me call it that, let me say it that way, the building team or the built environment, people who do not know the difference, it's very possible for you to mistake all of us. You need to understand that the work of an architect is different from the work of a town planner, is different from the work of a quantity surveyor or even a land surveyor, is different from the work of an estate manager, is different from the work of a builder. A builder's work is different from the work of a civil engineer, even though both of them are interwoven. And yeah, these classes of professionals, they have different roles to play in the building industry. But what is happening right now, it's been happening, but now it is even more, is that once people see that someone has said a terminology or is been frequenting a site, then everybody just call them engineer. They refer to everybody as engineer. Even a bricklayer that has been working for say 10 years, or even if it is 2 years, there are some bricklayers, because you see them constantly on that site and you don't know if they have another boss they report to, it's very easy for people to start referring to them as engineer. I've been hearing people call my foreman engineer. People call surveyors engineer. I understand that they don't know better. That is not the point of this video. The point of this video is how we affect the quality of construction. Both you, both me, both these so-called people that have turned themselves into engineers. A lot of people right now, they believe my family can handle my construction, my friends can handle my construction. What most people are doing right now is to put the professionals to the side and engage people based on relationship. They don't engage people based on professionalism anymore. And what that does is, a lot of time, these people you are engaging, they don't know the implication of the corners they boycott. All they know is building your house. They also want to build a house from that project, ignoring the implications of things they are not doing right. So now, take for instance, you're giving your brother or your sister or your friend or an engineer, so-called engineer down the street that did someone's house that you saw, and you feel like, oh, this work is neat, I also want to give to the person. You're giving them this project without anything to point at. I always tell people, like I said I do here, if you send me a style and I know that that style cannot last, I will tell you as my client, you don't know what happens after they take that picture and post online. You're seeing the video on the day one that hair was done. The person was still in the braider's shop. They took a very nice video and posted it online, but you don't know what happens to that hair after 2 days. They are not going to come back to tell you. This is the same thing that happens to a lot of construction. You see people, they do a neat job, they post the video online, and you be like, oh wow, this is neat. Do you care to find out if they are professionals? Do you care to find out what happens to the buildings they've done like 3-5 years ago? Do you? Because a defect in a building might not happen immediately, especially if it is not something that is extremely structurally defective. So we're talking about just giving people your project to handle without being sure if they have the professional requirements or knowledge to handle this project. That's one. Secondly, people that you're giving your project to, I'm sure you've shopped around. Some people shop around, some people just give it to them based on trust, thinking that this is my family. But one thing you need to know is your family might come to you directly. It happens. Once you start committing 100 million, 200 million into your family members' hands, they believe that when they have a problem of 2 million, you should be able to solve that problem for them. If you have 200 million to do a project that they are aware of, they expect you to be able to solve their problems too. And because you think they are doing you a favor, you barely say no when they bring those problems to you. So you have to solve that problem. And a lot of times, these people that you believe are doing you a favor, yes, it appears like a favor, it appears like they are helping you, but trust me, nobody does anything for free. They might not have charged you professional fee in whatever they bring to you, but they can't be going to your site for free. They cannot do you a project of 200 million and they are not also making some profit from that project. Some people even target to build their own house off of what they are doing for you. But guess what? You won't be able to say too much because the person is not having a business transaction with you. They are doing you a favor. This is not a contract that you entered into. That is that about family and friends. So now I want to talk about how giving your project to people that are not professionals has affected the pricing in the building industry. Professionals understand that these things have to be done step by step. These are things we cannot not do for the building to stand the test of time. But people that are not professionals, a lot of them are used to that is how we do it. I remember when I started doing my IT back then, I think 2010. 2010 was my first field IT, then 2011. No matter what they did on site, I used to ask questions. Why was this thing being done this way? Because every project is unique. Every project has its own requirement, that there's something, that particular thing you're trying to do, there's something it's asking for. That's why you're giving it that approach. So one thing about me is I wanted to know why you're giving it that particular approach. I don't like people telling me that's how we do it. That's how we do it. It's not a reason why you're doing it that way. A lot of people don't know the reason you have to do a fence first before you construct. A lot of people don't know why. They just do it. People think that's because it's what you can afford. That's why you're doing it. No, there's a structural implication to you not doing your fence first. There will be a problem if you don't do your fence first. I'm not going to dish out the reason here because it is not a free consultation. But I tell you for free now, if you have a land, you have to do your fence first. If you don't do it first, you're going to come back to that project and you spend double of what you're supposed to spend. There's a reason behind it. A lot of people don't know why you have to solid fill your foundation. They just believe that is how they do it. Some people don't even solid fill their block works. A lot of people don't know why you have to do some what example am I trying to give now? A lot of people don't know why you have to do some suspended slab. There are some sites that you need to do you just have to do suspended slab. You cannot say you want to fill. There are some sites that you shouldn't even bother yourself. Don't waste your money to fill, because it's a time bomb. So there are a lot of reasons why we do things in the construction industry, but because most people believe Basheman Sheni Yeni Leki, Basheman Sheni Yeni Nora, they don't understand why Tonshen Sheba. Permit me if you don't understand Yoruba, but that is the common terms on site. That is how we do it. So that reason, because a builder understands why it has to be done that way, they will charge you for that reason why it has to be done that way. But someone that doesn't understand the reason, they can afford to put that reason to the side, boycott it, and then they don't include it in their bill. And sooner or later, you start having a reason to come back to that reason that you didn't do. And then you spend more money. So that brings me to what I was trying to say about pricing. A lot of people now, a lot of real engineers, real builders, they don't even get projects like before anymore, because it's a lot of quacks out there. And those quacks are ready to do it for a price that a builder would never take that project for. And then you as a client, you are going for the price. You are not going for the reason why the other one is expensive. One thing I need you to know is, anybody that is in business, they are in business for profit. If I tell you that this project you're trying to give me, I'm going to charge you 100 million, for example, and you beg me for 80 million, and I tell you I can't do it for 80 million. If that 80 million was profitable, I would not watch you take my business to another place. I won't, because I don't want to be out of business too. I want to be busy, but at the same time be busy and still make money. So if you're going to give it to another person for that same 80 million and they accept it, trust me, the person is still going to make profit from your 80 million. And how are they going to make that profit? By boycotting a lot of stuff that are probably very important to your project, to your project's lifespan. Let me put it that way, to your project's lifespan. So that is how we affect the pricing. You're going to see some, let me use apartment for example. You're going to see some 2-bedroom apartment, let's say flat, block of flats, 2-bedroom. Some people are selling for 40 million. Some people are selling for 50 million. Some people are selling for 70 million. You might be asking that what is different, even though the location might affect because of the cost of the land. But at the same time, if you check in the real sense, take for instance, there's an apartment I'm trying to do right now close to Ibadan Airport. Of course, land is not as expensive in Ibadan as Lagos, but at the same time, these apartments are going to be going for 75 million. But we know that selling it for less, real estate developers, they usually do pre-launch sale just to get money to push the project. But once they push the project, you have to go back to the real price ASAP, so that you don't get stuck, so that you do not deliver, and so that you do not compromise quality. Because the moment you start selling too cheap, you start compromising quality, because you have to deliver, you have to. So people are now going to ask, why are you selling apartments in Ibadan for 75 million when Lagos is selling for 70 million? Don't forget, I also want to make profit, and I do not want you to take your business elsewhere. So if this factor of not wanting you to take your business elsewhere is checked, and I know that if I sell for 70 million, I'm still going to make my profit, why would I not keep you as a customer? This is what you should think about as a client. Why would I not keep you as a client if that price is really favorable? And another thing you should ask yourself is, people that want to sell for that same price, why is their own cheaper? There is a reason it's cheaper. So we've seen a lot of all kind of stuff, but I want to close the pricing area. I've talked about family and friends. I've talked about believing that because somebody has been doing it for a long time now means that they're engineer. No. I remember when I started practicing, you hear all these baba tell me, I've been doing this job before you were born. And I tell them, the fact that you didn't go to school makes me your boss. There are a lot of things I learned from school that you do not know. You are just so stuck in your this is how we do it approach, which you don't understand what you shouldn't do. And then this brings us to all these developers now that are flooding Lagos, real estate generally in Nigeria. And I want to tell you one thing, that having money is not enough reason to become a developer. Having money to do business is not enough reason to become a developer. If you know that because you have money you want to be a developer, please make sure you hire professionals and make sure you listen to their advice. Because some of you hire professionals, they advise you, but you still believe if we do it this way, nothing is going to happen. A lot of buildings have cost people their lives. A lot of buildings have cost people even more money. If it only costs you your money and not cost you your life, that's still manageable. But buildings have cost people their lives. I cited an example in one of the videos that I made, and I talked about the Elegushi collapse, Lekki Garden collapse at Elegushi. This person has been in business, like he's been calling himself engineer for a long time. His building had a problem. They needed underpinning. The other one had a problem. They also needed underpinning. The other person was an architectural firm. They contracted their underpinning to us because we used to do a lot of underpinning in Lagos. So this other guy refused to contract his underpinning out with the mindset of what are they doing that I cannot do. He did not understand the concept, the approach that we do. He understood the fact that yes, he needed to take it deeper, anchor it, do shoring, but at the same time, he didn't understand that the structural elements that are carrying your upper floors cannot be exposed. This guy went ahead and exposed everything. We did our own in portions, and it rained. His building collapsed, our own is still standing. So that's what I meant by, you can't say because you have been doing this thing for a long time, you now understand it. No, it's possible you still do not understand what you're doing if you don't ask necessary questions. And the fact that you have money doesn't mean you are now fit to become a developer. You can be a developer, but it doesn't make you a professional in the building industry. Make sure you hire a professional in the building industry so that you don't have problems. It's better if you have money to invest in real estate. It's better you be an investor in a company that you know is being run by somebody that knows what they are doing. It's better you do that. Or it's better you be a developer and hire the real people. Make sure your architect is not doing the job of a structural engineer. Make sure that your land surveyor has not turned to your supervisor on site. Land surveyor does not know anything about top and bottom. Land surveyor does not know anything about whether it should be anchored upward or downwards. Your land surveyor does not know anything about spacing of reinforcement. I mean, it's a lot of things a land surveyor might not know. Do they even know how to read structural drawings? There are some iron benders, there are some, that have trained themselves up to the level of reading structural designs, but there are situations on site that will confuse you. Recently, the duplexes we are doing, the people that designed it, they didn't go on site to do feasibility, to do physical feasibility. So they just designed based on the what is it called, survey plan that they were given. No doubt, you know, sometimes people that want to sell the land, they always make it bigger just so they can sell it to you more expensive. We had a problem on site. My surveyor had to call me. We had to brainstorm, think about how to fix the problem. If he could do it alone, he wouldn't call me. He wouldn't. The bricklayer was there. They were trying to shrink the building sideways. I said, no, we don't have problem sideways. We have problem vertically. So why are you trying to move it sideways? That's how he understands it. Or he just believed that they needed to move the building, but he doesn't know where to move it to. But if they had moved it that way, it would have eaten to another building. You don't know why they have all these problems of not having enough spacing between buildings in Lagos. You don't know why they have these problems of cramping. It might be a situation like that. It might be a situation like that, but the person they put on site doesn't even know the solution to it. So that is that. Another thing I want to point out is the price you pay determines the quality they give you. I know this is a very controversial statement. Some people are going to say even if you pay very well, some people are used to a bad job. Yes, some people are used to a bad job. They don't even know how to do a good job. But once you notice that kind of person, let them go. But the ones that know how to do a good job, as in payment motivates them. There is this estate that we're doing, of course. Also, the poultry farm that I've been talking about, we're plastering it right now. If you know how much we're spending to plaster that poultry farm, it's enough for some people to build their bungalow to roof level. I'm not exaggerating. This is because we want it clean. We want the angle straight. We don't want any because I've been seeing a lot of buildings in Lagos that you will wonder that who plastered this building. You will see buildings that are putting $1 million. There's this particular very viral building. It went so viral. I don't want to mention the name so it won't look like I'm spoiling business for them. I saw the video. I could see the shape of trowel on that plastering. Why would you plaster like that? Every time I see a video of a house they want to sell, I watch out for how smooth the wall is. A lot of all these buildings in Lagos, you see the walls, never smooth. They don't even screed. They just plaster, they don't screed. This poultry I'm talking about, we're plastering, we're screeding, we're lambing. The same thing. So we're talking to the guy. The guy was just jokingly saying that this kind of plaster we don't do them. That we only do them, maybe this is the only time they're going to do it this year. I'm like, what do you mean this is the only time you're going to do it this year? What about the one you are doing at our estate? You say, yeah, because they are doing the estate and the poultry simultaneously, that this is still the only time they're going to do it. I said, no, our duplex, you're still going to plaster one of them very soon, and this is the exact quality that I want. So it was like the way he's been working with me, that he doesn't work with developers like that. That developers don't care. I'm telling you now, this is not about spoiling any developer's name. This guy said outrightly that developers don't care. They just want to work and get out. They have this mindset of whoever buys it is going to fix it to their own taste. Now, they are not only, if that is the case, then sell the building to people as carcass. You don't need to finish it for them. But if you're selling carcass and your foundation is horrible, your plumbing is horrible, even the carcass is like you are still selling rubbish. It's going to look like a demolishable building. So if you're working with the mindset of whoever buys it will fix it, then you've only ripped people off. That means if they are selling a building to you for 65 million, you are expected to fix that building for another 70, 80, 100 million. At the end of the day, why don't you, even after you fix it, you might not get the piece that you expected from your building, because there are a lot of things you might not be able to correct. You might not be able to go under the foundation and correct it totally. Why don't you buy 150 million that will give you peace, that you won't have to do anything, that even as they are doing it, you are working with them? One of my colleagues that we actually did the poultry farm together. He constructed it physically, but of course, we're always brainstorming together. He said now he has a remodeling to do in Lagos. When they wanted to sell the building to the person, they showed them 3 units. After they constructed it, it was 5 units. Everywhere is so cramped up right now. The kind of things they did in that building. He said to change the tiles alone and to demolish some places and do some additions because it's just so horrible. The person is already looking at 65 million in remodeling. And I'm sure that the person did not buy that building for 60 million. It's definitely going to be more expensive than that. So why are we wasting that money? Why not just do it once and forget it? Now, every time I refer to myself as a developer to my foreman, he'll be like, no, you are not a developer. We know how developers do it. You are a builder. That's the title he has given. He'll be like, you are a builder, you're not a developer. So these things, they are the factors that contribute to the price of real estate. Yeah, I'm hearing real estate is overpriced. Real estate is overpriced. It's not in all places in Nigeria. Real estate is overpriced, but not in all places in Nigeria. There are some places that they will call a house for you for 80 million. And I'll be like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because we all know the price of cement. We all know the price of granite. We all know the price of sand. If they are calling some ridiculous prices for you, even you should run. You should know that this is not going to work. How can this amount of money, plus the price of land, how can this amount of money finish this kind of building they are promising me? All they do right now is just do fluted panels around your TV console, do kitchen cabinets. As long as it has lights, the building is ready. What about the test of time? Have you seen buildings in Nigeria that after a year you start seeing their walls having molds? They were not prevented from water, from moisture. There was one that Scott featured in one of his videos. One of the walls was already tearing down. It was already coming down. And that was because the wall was soaked with water. They had this decking, half roof. So they had concrete roof, of course. They had concrete roof, but they did not prevent moisture penetration into the concrete. One thing you guys need to know is concrete is not water resistant. To an extent, it blocks water, but it doesn't mean water cannot penetrate. There is a reason they manufacture felt. That building, they just did the concrete and they put artificial grass on it. When they did the video of before it was sold, it was so beautiful. It was looking so beautiful. But artificial felt, artificial grass, the way it's done, it has allowance for water penetration because they also do not want it to retain water to prolong its lifestyle. So artificial felt is not supposed to hold water. It's supposed to allow water go down. If you go and check the structural detail of an artificial grass, you will see it has like a wire mesh in between it, which allows for water to go down. So if you're putting an artificial grass on a roof slab, on a roof slab, what do you expect? You want it to help you prevent water? No. All the water that the slab is soaking in is discharging is going down into the walls, and the walls became so weak, it couldn't take it anymore. It gave way. So if you're doing a roof slab, that's why there's felt in the market. Even the felt cannot be there for 100 years. You have to still maintain it. Depending on how harsh the weather in your region is, you have to maintain it constantly. Remove it, put another one maybe after 5 to 10 years. So once people tell me they want a parapet wall, they want a roof slab, I tell them the implication. Are you ready for the management? Do you really want to deal with it? But people that are even doing it, they don't understand it. How do they advise you, the buyer? There is no way. So I don't want to flog this too much. I just decided to make this video so that we see how we all contribute to the problem in the real estate industry in Nigeria, starting from the buyer to whoever you give your project to the developers and to the builders, because a lot of the real engineers now are also cutting corners, because you people are making them go hungry. You are putting them to the side. You are trying to take them out of business, and it takes the ones with the grace of God, the ones that have conscience, to let the job go than to compromise. Some people will be like, it's better, no, I can't do it for that price, you can give it to someone else. And some people will be like, okay, I will take it if that's what you want to pay, but they know where to deal with you. So I would advise that if they give you a bill, it's better you go through that bill. Let the professional explain it to you. That's why there's a bill of quantities. The breakdown will be there. You see how much goes to block work. You see a real QS, quantity surveyor, a real QS should do your BOQ per square meters, so that by the time you're saying the price of block work per square meter, you will know if the builder is actually trying to rip you off. Block right now is about 900 to 1,000 per block. So if somebody is quoting you 12,000 per square meter for block, run away. It's not real. Because if they buy the block already for 900 to 1,000, what about the sand? What about the cement? What about the workmanship? What about the water? What about waste? So you should already know. So the only way to check if the engineer that is giving you the real bill is ripping you off is to go through your bill and check the price per square meter. Then you can tell. Anything you don't understand, let the person explain it to you, instead of just saying your own is too expensive, I'm going for the cheaper one. You end up paying for that cheaper one in the future. And the future is not usually too far when it comes to construction, depending on the level of defect. Even before you start living in the house, you would already start spending money on renovations or on maintenance. I just want to stop here. If you have any comment, contribution, like, share, comment, and I'll appreciate if you can share these videos with everyone that you think needs to see it, whether you're already constructing, whether you're thinking about it, whether you're the type that would rather give your project to family. Anyone, I think everybody needs this video, and I will see you on my next one. Thank you. Bye.